It was 1974. The Second World War had officially ended 29 years earlier. Presidents had changed, cities had rebuilt, the whole world had moved on. But deep inside a jungle, one lone soldier was still fighting a war that everyone else had forgotten. His name was Hiroo Onoda, and this is the almost unbelievable story of the man who fought the longest war in human history. A war that, in his mind, refused to end. Our story begins on a small, remote island in the Philippines called Lubang, a place that would soon become one man's entire world for nearly 3 decades. In 1944, as the war raged across the Pacific, Japan selected a young officer named Onoda for a very special and secretive mission. His commanding officer sat him down and gave him an order, one that would quietly reshape the rest of his life. The order was simple, and it was absolute. No matter what happens, keep fighting. Never take your own life. And never, under any circumstance, surrender. The mission, he was told, would only end the moment an official order came directly from his superior, no matter how long that took. Onoda crossed the dark waters and reached Lubang Island, ready to carry out guerrilla warfare against the enemy. This dense, unforgiving island was about to become his new home, though at the time, he had absolutely no idea just how long that stay would be. Onoda wasn't alone. 3 other soldiers stood beside him, sharing the same mission and the same uncertain fate. Within just a few months, Allied forces stormed the beaches and captured the island completely. Onoda and his 3 companions fled deep into the thick jungle, and from that moment on, they seemed to vanish from the world entirely. Weeks later, word began to spread through the islands. Japan had surrendered. The war, officially, was over. But deep in the jungle, Onoda refused to accept a single word of it. He was convinced it was nothing more than enemy propaganda, a clever trick designed to lure him and his men out into the open. Months passed, and planes flew overhead, dropping leaflets that read, "The war has ended. Please come home." But Onoda's mind remained locked exactly where his commander had left it, all those years ago. His orders had been to keep fighting no matter what, and he clung to those words with every ounce of discipline he had. Onoda and his men built hidden shelters deep within the jungle, moving constantly to avoid detection. They survived on wild fruit, rice, and whatever scraps of food they could scavenge from the land around them. At times, they stole crops from local farmers, believing they were simply collecting supplies for an ongoing war effort. Still convinced the war raged on around him, these encounters sometimes turned frightening and dangerous. Over the years that followed, several innocent lives were tragically lost. Because in Onoda's eyes, enemies were everywhere. Back home in Japan, the country had already given him up for dead long ago. Even his own family had quietly lost all hope of ever seeing him again. Over the decades, the Japanese government launched several official search missions, hoping to bring him home. But every single time, Onoda and his men hid deeper in the shadows, because they simply refused to believe it. As the years dragged on, his 3 companions were killed one by one, or eventually chose to surrender. Eventually, only Onoda remained, utterly alone in the jungle, still gripping tightly to a mission no one else believed in anymore. The years rolled steadily on. 10 years passed, then 15, then 20, and still he waited. The world outside had transformed completely. But inside Onoda's mind, the war was still very much alive. He kept his weapons sharp, his uniform maintained, and himself ready for battle every single day, without fail. From time to time, tourists wandered into the jungle unaware, and Onoda saw every one of them as an enemy spy. The world had raced ahead into an age of cars, technology, and modern cities, while he remained frozen, unmoving in 1944. Then, in 1974, a young Japanese traveler named Norio Suzuki arrived on Lubang Island, searching for adventure. He had come looking for 3 specific things: a wild panda, a mythical yeti, and, almost as a joke, Lieutenant Onoda. He wandered the jungle alone at night, calling Onoda's name out into the darkness, half expecting no answer at all. And then, almost impossibly, Onoda stepped out of the shadows, rifle raised and ready. Suzuki wasn't afraid. He spoke calmly, gently, careful not to startle the soldier standing before him. He explained, patiently, that the war had ended 29 years earlier, and that Japan was at peace. Onoda refused to believe even a single word of it, not after everything he had endured to stay loyal. He said firmly, "Only my commanding officer has the authority to call me back from this mission." Suzuki made him a promise on the spot. He would return to Japan and personally track down his old commander. It sounded like a simple task. In reality, it would turn into an extraordinarily difficult mission of its own. Suzuki scoured records, offices, and asked questions all across Japan, desperately searching for answers. Finally, he tracked down Onoda's former commander, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi. By now, Taniguchi was living a quiet, ordinary life, far removed from the battlefields of his youth. When he heard that Onoda was still alive, still faithfully fighting after all these decades, he was utterly stunned. Without hesitation, he decided he would travel to the Philippines himself to end this, once and for all. This was no longer a simple search. It had officially become a government mission. On March 9, 1974, a meeting point was carefully arranged deep inside the jungle. Onoda emerged in his full, worn uniform, rifle in hand, still cautious, still alert, exactly as he had trained. And there, standing before him at last, was his real commanding officer, Major Taniguchi himself. Taniguchi read the official military order aloud, his voice steady. "Your mission is over." Those 4 words ended 29 years of war in a single, breathless moment. Onoda gave one final, formal salute and lowered his weapon for the first time in nearly 3 decades. The moment was so powerful that everyone present, hardened officials included, was moved to tears. Onoda formally surrendered his sword to the President of the Philippines, a powerful symbol that his war was truly, finally over. Despite the acts committed during those years, President Marcos chose to grant him a full and complete pardon. When Onoda finally returned to Japan, he became a national hero literally overnight. Thousands of people lined the streets of Tokyo, just hoping to catch a single glimpse of him. After 29 long years apart, he was finally, tearfully reunited with his aging parents. But the new, modern Japan felt like a completely foreign world to him. Nothing like the country he remembered. So much technology, so much unfamiliar change. Onoda felt, for the first time, like a stranger in his own homeland. Sometime later, seeking a quieter life, he moved to Brazil and started his own cattle farm. He eventually wrote his own account of those 30 years, and the book went on to become famous around the entire world. Later, he returned to Japan and opened survival training camps designed specifically for young children. He wanted the younger generation to learn real discipline, resilience, and quiet courage. A soldier who had once fought entirely alone in the jungle was now, quietly, teaching others life's greatest lessons. Hiroo Onoda passed away peacefully in 2014 at the age of 91. But even today, decades later, his remarkable story is still told and remembered around the world. His life leaves us with one haunting question. Was this true loyalty? Or a life tragically wasted, chasing an order no one ever meant to last 30 years? Onoda placed his complete, unwavering faith in a single order. And that faith cost him 29 years of his one and only life. His story teaches us just how dangerous, blind, unquestioning loyalty can truly become when it is left unchecked for too long. And sometimes, as his story shows us, accepting the truth is the hardest, most painful battle of all. Onoda's story isn't just about a distant war. At its heart, it's about the incredible, almost frightening power of the human mind. So tell me, if you were in Onoda's place, standing alone in that jungle for 29 years, what would you have done? Let us know in the comments below. If this story moved you the way it moved us, please take a moment to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another incredible true story like this one. See you in the next story. Until then, take care and stay curious.